Hello my friends. So today we're going to work on a sequence for external femur rotation. So when you were doing your self-assessment, if you notice that your kneecaps point outward, so more like a 1 o'clock and an 11 o'clock, this is the sequence for you. So our first exercise is going to be static back. So grab your block and we're going to lay with our legs up at 90 degrees for 5 minutes at least. So palms face up here, open up your shoulders in this position. Legs just relax. Everything is just relaxing here. You want your butt up to whatever you're using, if you're using a chair, so you can see how my legs are right at 90 degrees. They're not kind of more open. They're not more into my chest. They're right at 90 degrees. And now here, we're just relaxing into this. We're going to use gravity as a plumb surface to pull our load-bearing joints back to alignment. So take note if you feel an arch in your lower back, if you feel like your lower back is arching up. I don't want you to actively press it down into the ground. I just want you to take note of that. And then as we lay here and relax more into this position, I want to see if that lower back will start to relax down. Oftentimes when you have external femur rotation and you're dealing with pain due to that, it's because there's some tightness going on in the primary hip flexors, in the psoas, which also connects into the lower back. So here we're asking that lower back and your pelvis to realign itself and be in a more neutral position. You also might notice if one side feels different than another, if one side of your pelvis feels like it's more towards the ceiling than the other side. Relate that back to what you did in your self-assessment form. If you saw that one hip was coming closer to the camera or closer to the mirror, is that the same hip you now feel is higher off the ground? And that's that rotation happening in your body. It's showing up here too. So we want to wait until that rotation starts to decrease and your lower back starts to settle more onto the floor here. So I like to really focus on diaphragmatic breathing in this position. So when you breathe in, you want your stomach to rise. When you breathe out, you want your stomach to fall. So just practice that for a couple breaths here. Note as you exhale if you start to relax into this position a little bit more, if it starts to feel like your lower back is falling into the ground a little bit better every time you exhale. Even note if you're holding some tension in your shoulders or if you feel like one shoulder blade is more off the ground than another. That will be that rotation showing up in your upper back as well. Just try to relax your shoulders, let them open up. Make sure you keep your palms up here. When you close it off, you end up rounding the shoulders a little bit more, and we're trying to get a little bit more extension through our mid-back, through our thoracic back. You could even fall asleep in this position, take a little nap. Just rewind the video when you wake up. Keep working on that diaphragmatic breathing. If you do have trouble with that, you can go ahead and put your hands on your stomach to feel your stomach rise and fall. But once you get that feeling, go ahead and bring your palms up again next to you. Now I normally recommend doing this exercise for 5 minutes at least. If you feel like your lower back is not lowering into the ground yet, if it's not fully relaxing into the ground, go ahead and stay in this position for longer. You can do this up to 15 minutes if you want. Normally it feels really good on the lower back. So just wait until you feel like your pelvis and your lower back really neutralize, and then you can go ahead and come out of this position. The second exercise we're going to do is sitting knee pillow squeezes. So start on your chair, grab your yoga block. We're going to start in that seated position, legs at 90 degrees here, heels directly under your knees. You're going to stick that block in between your knees. You're going to roll on top of your sits bones here, so not rolling back, rolling forward. You can feel your inner thighs kind of start to engage. Palms up, slightly bring your shoulder blades together. And we're going to squeeze and release that block. 3 sets of 20. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now make sure you're still rolled forward on top of your sits bones. You didn't start to kind of flatten out. Take a little break. Note if you're feeling a difference right and left. And then also make sure your feet stay firmly on the ground, still slightly pigeon-toed in that straight position. And we're going to go for another set here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now if you're still feeling it differently right to left, go ahead and stand up, just move around, reset a little bit, come back into it for the final set. And then trying to bring balance to the legs. So remember, we're not squeezing with all our might. We're not trying to build jacked inner thighs. We're just trying to bring balance right to left. One last set here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. So making sure you're not holding the tension and just squeeze, 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 squeeze. We want a full release, not so much where the block drops, obviously. If you want to pick it up every time you can, I guess. But you want to make sure the muscle activates, releases, activates, releases. Excellent job. That was sitting knee pillow squeezes. The third exercise we're going to be doing is called sitting floor. So I'm going to show you the side view, but you're going to do this backed up against a wall. So we're going to start with your legs straight out in front of you, feet flexed, nice and straight, slightly pigeon-toed. And then what I want you to do is make sure you roll forward up onto your sits bones, so you're not rounding your lower spine like this. All right, sitting forward, creating that slight arch in the lower back, very similar to what we just did with the sitting knee pillow squeezes, but now we're doing it with our legs straight out. So go ahead and back up against the wall. Now you'll be able to see my feet too. Now I'm against that wall. I can feel my butt against it, my shoulders against it, my head's against it. Now if that's not possible for you, that's okay. Flex those feet back, roll on top of those sits bones. Your palms come up on your thighs. I'll go ahead and start a timer for us. We're going to hold this for 3 minutes at minimum. Now if you don't have that length in the hamstrings, go ahead and scoot back a little bit away from that wall. but you can still roll forward on your sits bone. So I'm going to give you that side angle. You can still roll forward even though you're slightly leaning back. So it's a less of a stretch on my hamstrings, but I'm still getting that arch, I'm still getting that leg engagement. All right. So we're going to hold this here. And about halfway through, I'm going to give you a little bit more advanced option. So after a couple weeks, if you find that this exercise is super easy, then we're going to add a little bit of shoulder work into it. Just kind of double it up for you. So this exercise is really focused on linking the ankles, knees, hips, and shoulders up together in a more functional position. Oftentimes, when your knees aren't working properly, when they're externally rotated and you're having pain due to that, it's because they're working on their own and the ankle and the hip aren't helping them anymore. So the knee is really kind of that joining joint between the ankle and the hip, and if they aren't talking to each other, the knee gets caught in the middle. So we're trying to link all that back up so the knee doesn't have to carry more weight than the rest of the body. All right, we're about halfway. We're going to go ahead and go into our golfer's grip. Now remember, this is the more advanced version. Just add this when you start to feel like you're conquering the leg side of it. Make sure your pelvis is still forward on your sits bones. Make that golfer's grip position, and we're going to do some elbow curls here. So finger to temple, open up those elbows, keep the shoulder blades on the wall, and curl in. And open and curl. We're just going to continue this probably until the timer runs out here. Now if you can't bring your elbows all the way together, that's totally fine. I want you to start to feel like it's loosening up a little bit. If you feel like you have to collapse your shoulder blades off the wall, if you have to round forward, just don't go as far with your elbows. I would much rather you be in this range of motion than collapsing here. Very nice. We've got a couple more. I know, it's a lot of work here. This took me months to conquer. Actually, probably longer, so stay with me. All right, nice job. Go ahead and relax out of that. This next exercise is supine groin progressive. So when you have external knee rotation, oftentimes the psoas muscle, the primary hip flexor, is super tight, and we need to bring it back to its proper length in a passive way. So if you have a tower, now is the time we use it. If you don't, I would suggest going and checking out my video on the tower, but I've brought the modification in here for you just so you can test it out without a tower. So we're gonna have our regular block. We're gonna lay back with one leg bent at 90 degrees and the other one is going to be extended onto this chair. So I'm gonna prop my foot up on the back of this chair so my foot is straight. Now you can use other things, and I give modifications for that in the tower video as well, of other things that you can use with when you don't have a tower. So I'm gonna lie back here, leg fully extended, propped up so the toes are nice and straight. And you might feel a slight arch in your lower back in this position, and now we want to wait to let our lower back settle in this position. If you feel a very big arch, try starting with something a little bit higher so you feel less of an arch. All right, once you feel like that arch settles, you can go ahead and drop your leg about 6 to 8 inches lower. So you can see I don't have a modified version of the lower here. I would get something else. I just wanted to show you guys the top level. So relaxing here, still working on that diaphragmatic breathing. Normally it takes about 5 minutes to let that lower back relax, and then you can start to lower your leg in this position. So do that on both sides, and we're gonna finish it up with one last exercise. All right, my friends, the last exercise in this sequence is another set of knee pillow squeezes. I know you're so happy. So again, start in the exact same position, knees at 90 degrees, block between those knees, and we're gonna squeeze and release. And note, if this feels different than before you did the supine groin progressive, if it feels easier, if it feels more functional, if it feels more even. So we're gonna do 2 sets of 20 here. You can do the full 3 sets if you really want to. I'm just gonna do about two sets. Let's do one more set of 20. So 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, almost there, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job, guys. Way to change those external femurs, and I will see you in the next video.